Hey, happy afternoon, everybody. Today I am going to be talking about a story in my life that, rather than serve as a sad story, it actually should be one of inspiration because it shows that you can come from a bad place and work towards a better place. So, and this is kind of jumping out of the order of my story and everything and what I talk about. But let me adjust this camera just a shade. There we go. Hopefully that's a better view. So when I got out of the Navy, this was in 1994, and I was happy to be out, but obviously I didn't have any real practical skills as far as the job market was concerned. But anyway, so I got out of the Navy and I ended up living with my mother in a mobile home. And I didn't really want to work, in all honesty. I was more than happy to just be lazy, unemployed. If I ever got a job, I would probably either get fired or quit because I just wasn't, it's not what I wanted, you know. What I was most interested in, at least at the time, and actually was for quite a few years after this, was video games. It's all I dreamed about doing. So obviously, once I got out of the Navy, I bought the latest and greatest video game system out on the market. I would just be content to play video games all day. I pretty much refused to work. That started, like I said, about 94. And the whole period itself lasted about 10 years. So therefore, I call it my lost 10 years. I remember, I believe it was approximately 96, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was a little later than that. You know, time flies by. But in any case, I did hold a few jobs. Like, for example, I worked for a season at H&R Block and actually really enjoyed that. And I believe that was, I want to say 97 or 98. I also worked at Office Max for a time during that period. Now, those were actual examples of where I actually held and kept a job. But again, my primary focus was on video games. It's all I really cared to do. I still remember when 9/11 happened. This would have been during that time frame. So there was one game that was definitely consuming my interest at the time. And I joke, I kid you not, so during that time frame, so I would wake up about noon each day, roughly, grab some lunch, and I would proceed to play this video game from about noon on the day I woke up until approximately 6 a.m. the next day. So we're talking the better part of 18 hours a day. And then I would go to sleep, do it all again. I did this for months and months on end. I was also a frequent participant on an AOL chat group that I was very frequent on that, or very active. In addition, I'd take breaks from playing the video games and go chat on the AOL message boards and stuff. There was one instance, and this happened, I believe, in 98. I'm almost certain it was 98. This was where I was working for Office Max, and I remember, so I I hadn't budgeted my money correctly for one pay period, and I didn't leave enough to pay my insurance. It was going to lapse if I didn't get it paid during that pay period. And unfortunately, I could not find the money to get the bill paid. I was hoping just, okay, when next paycheck comes around, I'll get it taken care of then, hoping, Well, lo and behold, I'm driving down the street in a college area, and a couple children dart out from between cars. They didn't look. I hit them. I didn't kill them, but I'm sure I scared them to no end, and I'm sure I hurt the girl for sure. But because of that, and my insurance being lapsed, didn't have active coverage. So the DOT's standard issue policy on that was to suspend your license. And I actually ended up challenging it in traffic court and won, surprisingly. So they had to give me my license back. But anyway, long story short, not a few days after I hit the children, my car ended up getting stolen. So hit the children, car gets stolen, kind of a bad time. So from the period of 1998 through 2002, literally I drove with no license, no insurance, and I even said, you know what, no registration either. So I was definitely flagrantly violating the law then. But lucky for me, I never once got pulled over, ticketed, arrested, or anything during this time. I got extremely lucky. I don't ever recommend this course of action. But I still remember during this period, this 10 years, my friend and his girlfriend would invite me out to go to pizza or something, go out to eat some night or something, right? And they had jobs, even if they weren't great jobs. If they had jobs, they could pay for their food. All I could maybe afford to order was a Coke or something because I just had no money. And I was becoming sort of very hostile to society during this time frame. I was kind of angry, very anti-establishment even. I was researching taboo topics, things that, could get you legally in trouble if you pursued them. And generally speaking, my life was kind of at a low point. There was a couple moves during that time frame. Like I said, initially I had moved in with my mother after I got out of the Navy, but then after a couple of years living there, we moved to an apartment in another town, and then from there I moved into a mobile home on my own in yet another town. Anyway, we made a bunch of moves, and so the point is, from that time period, my life clearly has, I haven't shared everything with you, but my life has definitely done a 180. It took long enough, I might add, but things started finally turning around for me in 2004. I got sick of being broke, not having any money, and so I guess the pain limit had been reached, or my threshold for pain on financial issues had been reached apparently. because in 2004 I decided to get my act together, and I went and got a job, and I've actually held a job pretty much nonstop since 2004. So we're talking the better part of 21 years now. With each job that I've held since then, I've either increased my skills or earned more money, possibly in some instances both. I'll get into some of those other stories that, where I started turning my life around in another video, because that almost warrants its own story in its own way. This video, I just wanted to show that you can go from being broke, having no seeming future, and basically scraping the bottom of the barrel. I can't even imagine having a girlfriend at that point in time. What woman would want somebody like me in that position, where I provided no real hope for any sort of prosperous future at all? And I can't say I blame them. I mean, quite honestly, I was a loser. So in any case, this story, I just wanted to show you can turn your life around no matter where you're at. Things can always get better. And generally speaking, people like helping people if they are trying to help themselves. So, you see these people on the side of the street panhandling, for example, and it's tough to want to help them because you don't really see them do anything, trying to better their lives. They're just panhandling on a street corner. But when somebody makes a concerted effort, to clean up their act, whatever that issue might be, in my case, of course, it was just pure laziness. I have nothing else to contribute it to. I didn't want to work, and when the pain finally got too great, I changed. And when I made those changes, positive things started happening for me in my life. So anyway, I just wanted to share that story with you, not to commiserate, but rather to provide hope and proof of a better life, better future. And as you can see, I am pulling into a gas station because I need to fill up for the start of my work evening. In any case, I hope that you have found some tidbit of positivity in this story. If you would please do me the honor of liking, subscribing, comment if you have one, please. I want to be able to help anybody I can to have the future that they deserve. So with that being said, I will see you again very, very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.